Good evening, friends. I am Raghu Kumar, an income management consultant. We are going to have a very good session with Mr. Grinwell Lazaro, a business planning coach. I have with me Mr. Ganeshan Thiru, a millionaire coach, my co-host. Today, it's a very interesting topic, business planning. Mr. Grinwell has a very great experience and an apt person for discussion on this topic. What do you say, Mr. Ganesan?
That's very true. So most of the time we will say that planning is almost like 50% of the execution is done because, and some of them even say that business plan or a planning is almost like, or business idea வந்து குட்டி குட்டி plans நிறைய இருந்தா எல்லாமே கரெக்டா நடக்கும்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. And here we have a person who has worked in all the domains. அதாவது சேல்ஸ்ல இருந்து எல்லாமே பார்த்துட்டாரு. And he has applied everything in a properly systemized way, and he made it success over 5 years when he has worked across the world, almost like Gujarat, Hyderabad, and then in UAE and then Bahrain. In the last 5 years, he has applied the strategic planning, and he thought he loved this business planning a lot more than anything else in the business part. And to say that he didn't complete any MBA, so but still, he has more knowledge than any other management graduates. We can say that. I can vouch for that. So over to Grenville. So how did you end up being a business planning coach right now, and your experience and your opening remarks on that?
First, Raghumar and Ganeshan, thank you for having me on this show. It's been my pleasure to be here. So my life, as I told you, I started as a civil engineer in Chennai from SRM University, and then my life took me on a roller coaster ride. I've been to various parts of the world, and I had the privilege of working hands-on in a lot of different roles. So that enriched me with knowledge, which I am able to now apply to my business. So I came back to India in December of 2019, and I started applying those principles to my business. And the biggest part is that I'm able to help people. So that is my most enriched feeling that you get out of doing this job. So it's a pleasure.
Great. Yes, Mr. Grenville, business coach na enna? What do you mean by business coach?
Okay,
Or business planning, for that matter, what is business planning? What does it mean, business planning? And you are calling yourself business coach, and what is the difference between both?
Okay, a business coach is somebody who trains you about the overall business. But what I focus on is just one part. Planning there's one part of your whole business is your planning part. Ganesh Sonamari, the biggest part of your work is making a plan. நீங்க அது 80% முடிச்சாலே ஆல்மோஸ்ட் ஃபுல்லா முடிச்ச மாதிரி தான். ஸோ ஸ்டீவன் கோவி சொன்ன மாதிரி வாட் கெட்ஸ் மெஷர்ட் கெட்ஸ் டன். ஸோ எல்லாம் பண்ற வேலை எல்லாத்தையும் மெஷர் பண்ணாதான் கரெக்டா பாயிண்ட் இருக்குமா இல்ல ஆர் யூ டூயிங் அச்சீவிங் த கோல்ஸ் தெரியும். So that for that you need to make a proper plan. So I help people devise this business plan, set the proper goals, and create an implementation plan. So the plan பண்றதால you have clear milestone to measure yourself. ஒரு வருஷத்துல எவ்வளவு முடியும், ஒரு மாசத்துல எவ்வளவு முடியும், ஒரு குவார்டர்ல எவ்வளவு முடியும், 5 வருஷத்துக்கு அப்புறம் எங்க இருப்போம்னு சொல்லிட்டு you set up goals at the starting part itself and create a feasibility plan saying இது பண்ணா நம்ம இந்த business profitable இருக்குமா. So start பண்றது முன்னாடியே you can make an evaluation and of course with certain assumptions. But you get in with a calculated risk, proper calculated risk saying certain percentage தான் risk ன்னு சொல்லிட்டு you do it. For example, I set a goal of 1 crore turnover for the first quarter. And I find that ஒரு மாசத்துல நம்ம 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs தான் பண்ணிருக்கோம். So there is something wrong somewhere. So the process is set up that you can easily go and find out where the problem is and you can address the problem. That way you make sure you get to that goal of 1 crore or more, but you don't fall below it because you have clear-cut guidelines on the way. So that's in short what I overall do. I set up a proper plan and I give them clear-cut ways of measuring their progress to achieve.
So almost like என்னன்னா நீங்க இதுக்கு qualification and for becoming a business planning coach, how did you plan? இதுக்கு ஏதாவது பிளான் பண்ணீங்களா, or how did you end up being a business planning coach? ஏன்னா you provide a plan to business for your profession. இதை choose பண்ணதுக்கு ஏதாவது பிளான் பண்ணீங்களா? How did you end up?
Okay, see, first qualifications, there are a lot of universities that give you specialized planning training itself.
Yeah.
Now, planning is in different parts. There is demand planning, there is supply planning, there is strategic planning. Okay, so each part has its own role to play in the overall business planning process. So ISCM or organization is an Indian university. There are many international universities that give you specialized courses for each of these segments. I have not done any official training at all. Zero. Okay. Now what I learned has been on hand So வேலை பண்ணிட்டு I've been, as I told you, I've been able to go and work hands-on in different roles. Other Katuram is my biggest learning that I've learned, and I apply those principles. Yes, I have formal training in integrated business planning. It is a process by Oliver Wright. So I was trained by his organization, which gave me the initial basis to set up the principles is followed is integrated business planning principles. And what I've done is that is a very complex and a very vast subject. So what I do is I take portions of it that the boy integrated business planning, you will never understand. It is such a vast subject. So I break it into pieces that they can understand. In reality, you do a business plan. So you make the business plan is one piece of the whole integration. Other demand plan. Then you make a supply plan. Then you integrate all the organizations as one. So I do it step by step. So I made a much more simplified and easy process, and they can choose to do one piece. The company can work with one piece of business planning. So we bring it depending, for example, you go to a retail shop, you don't need to have an integrated process. It's just one counter. So all you need is to plan a supply and his demand. So again, the money you make a plan for that sort of customer.
Okay, okay.
Grinwell, நீங்க இப்போ எந்த இதுல வந்து you have become an expert in என்ன நிறைய இண்டஸ்ட்ரீஸ் பார்த்துருப்பீங்க. நீங்க எந்த இண்டஸ்ட்ரியில you are expert?
Yeah, I have been most of my life in glass. 25 years I've been in the glass manufacturing industry. So I've been into that industry. I've traveled around the world. I've been to counter competition. I've gone to the dealers. So that is my strength, strong region. I know how things work in that specific niche. But the principles of business planning, you can take the same principles and use it for pharmacy. You can use the same drill and do it for just a retail shop. Otherwise, you can go to a huge industry and apply the same principle. It's just scaling up or scaling down the process.
Okay.
That's how planning is applied.
Okay, okay. And do you conduct any programs, Grinwell? Any program or value or program? The client, how do they come to know about you? And நீங்க எதனா ஆன்லைன்ல எதனா ப்ரோக்ராம் பண்றீங்களா, இல்லாட்டி you have any institute or something like that to help the clients to do this? ஏன்னா that is very important இல்லையா? How do I know you are a business? How do planning coach பண்ணிருக்கீங்க அப்படின்னு வெப்சைட் இருக்கா என்ன? How do you get the clients?
I do have a website called granvillsales.com where it has all my information stored on that site. I also make regular YouTube videos. So that is another thing that I do, and I have a YouTube channel dedicated to business planning. Our blog is a business planning blog, which has the principles of, again, as I said, I take it and make it into very simple, small pieces. So a certain subject, and again, the focus is on applying business planning. Principles about the So how do you apply business planning to your business?
Practically.
You should take this and be able to apply it. He's not going to do anything with the theory of how it is to be done. But besides this, I have a formal training. So I have 3 levels of courses that I have. So I have a 1 to 5 day, is a 5-day course where they come in and I teach them the basics of business planning. It's one course that I do. And I do a 2 or 3 week work plan where I actually implement a business plan for them. So I start from zero, on the full information on the good, I make a business plan for them within a week, 2 to 3 weeks period time, depending on how much of work they want to do. But the biggest part is the implementation plan. So implementation plan, business plan, I work with them for 6 months. That's the basic time you need to change what people have done and go through one cycle to implement the business plan. So our month, they will see the results in the 3rd month itself, but the cycle covers 6 months of planning. So you run it for 6 months to implement it. Third, I'm also having a university where I train planning professionals. So that is only for people who make planning itself their career. Again, there as well, I have clearly told people that my certification is for application of your principles. So they should come with a basic qualification from some university, a basic qualification of planning. And I take it and practically apply them. So they have a 1-year course that they do. And then I add them to my organization and they work with me on the ground. They go and visit their customers and apply these principles on the ground. So that's why I prefer to train the people who are joining.
Okay.
Grinwell, effective business planning process na enna? How do you define that? And you have any live example for that? Any industry நீங்க பண்ணிருப்பீங்க இல்லையா in your experience? So அது கொஞ்சம் brief சொல்லுங்க.
Okay, see, the biggest misunderstanding என்னன்னா business planning ஒரு வாட்டி பண்ணிட்டு business start பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு that's the concept in everybody's mind. Business start பண்ணும்போது evaluate பண்ணிட்டு business நல்லா இருக்குமா இல்லையான்னு சொல்லிட்டு விட்டுருவோம். But actually business planning it's like a report card. So நீங்க plan உருவாக்கிட்டு you should use this business plan to measure your progress. That is how you make your business effective. So நான் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணும்போது இத்தனை கோடி நான் சம்பாதிக்க போறேன் ஒரு வருஷத்துக்கு அப்புறம் முடிவு பண்ணேன்னா அதை பண்ண மாதிரியே மெஜர் பண்றதுக்கு ஒரு ப்ராசஸ் இருக்கும். So all the customers I'm working with, I make it very clear to them that நீங்க பிசினஸ் பிளான் மட்டும் பண்றது இருந்தா I can make it and give it to you. You do what you need to do. But if you really want to improve your business, the results will come with implementing the plan. So the plan எடுத்து வச்சுட்டு you have a monthly meeting with the management and the stakeholders. அவங்கள்ட்ட கேட்டு என்னென்ன ஆயிருக்கு, what is the reason you are not making progress, you should fix it.
Okay.
That's the most effective way of implementing the plan.
Okay, so what you're saying is totally கொஞ்சம் different. Like planning na general thought process வந்து with that plan document we will start a business அவ்வளவுதான். அதுக்கப்புறம் we won't go and check. But what you're saying is to start the business is one part and to keep on improving every quarter or every half yearly. That is what you're saying. That is what you call it as a complete planning process.
Correct. It has to be it's a continuous cyclic process. Review பண்ணிட்டு correct பண்ணிட்டு you do the change to start again. You review it, correct it, start again. That creates the improvement process in the planning.
Okay.
Biggest shortcoming in any planning process is that most of the management do it from top down. So boss runs in a management சொல்றது. But the way I do it is I work with the departments. அவங்கள புரிய வச்சு you have to align them to the plan. So அவங்கள கேட்டு how are you going, what is this plan, ஏன் பண்றோம், what are the difficulties they are facing in the current situation. So I make them understand the value in doing this. ஏன்னா finally plan நம்ம பண்றதுதான், people have to do it. அவங்க பண்ணலன்னா the plan will be a failure. So I engage them to make sure it's effective.
So you handhold even after giving the plan. That is what you are telling me.
Very much. The success of a plan will be that everybody is engaged. First, everybody needs to understand என்ன மாத்திரம், எதுக்கு மாத்திரம், என்ன நல்ல வர போகுது, வாட் இஸ் எல்லாரும் என்ன பெனிஃபிட் கேட்பாங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கேள்வி. ஸோ அந்த பெனிஃபிட் அவங்களுக்கு புரியணும். சில பேருக்கு வேலை கம்மியா ஆகணும், the work should reduce technically speaking. நீங்க ராத்திரி ஃபுல்லா வேலை பண்ணிட்டு டார்கெட் அச்சீவ் பண்ணீங்கன்னா this should make you achieve your target at least a day in advance. அந்த மாதிரி பெனிஃபிட் you should see tangible benefits in doing this process. So the way I do it, I sit with the stakeholder, explain the benefit to his department and to him. சில பேர் are like, for example, shipping executive at the shipping department. Our customer he has to load double the output, safety affect ஆகுது, they get hurt. So அவங்களுக்கு அந்த benefit என்னன்னா they have a flow all through the month. So at the flow they do their work much better job and give a better output also. So that helps each department and each individual in the company. That's how it becomes effective.
Okay.
So Grinwell, communication is very, very important for any business. So what do you think that effective communication should be in a business?
Without question, the biggest challenge in any business is to maintain communication. Okay, I attended a conference for executives in which they showed a simple example. They put a table and there was somebody standing at the starting of the table and they had people all along at the end of the table. So the first guy will be given something to do and he will pass to the next person and each of us was given individual responsibilities. நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா what we ended up making was something totally different from what was told to the guy who started.
Correct.
Then we were given an exercise to make the system to optimize the system. So we made a circle so we could see what was happening at the front end. அது என்ன பண்றாங்க பண்ணிட்டு we were able to make an executive. So you actually have to ensure that everybody in the chain is getting the right communication and everybody is aligned. And that is where the business plan helps. The business plan is also supposed to be a document that anybody comes to the company, எடுத்து கையில கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா he should understand. இதுதான் எங்க business, இதுதான் எங்க goals, this is what we are doing, my department has to do this, and so you should be clear. So the good thing about a business plan, as part of the process, every individual has a responsibility. Every department has a responsibility. So the final goal, if you have to hit a certain amount of money as final goal, each department's KPI is aligned to that goal. For example, customer service, இத்தனை ton glass விற்கணும். Going back to my glass example, இத்தனை ton வித்தாதான் இந்த target ஆகும். So if they don't achieve that target, they are straight away that we are going to fail. Production is to make so much output to achieve the cost of the raw material. So we make sure that each department has a clear-cut goal, and the main part is that every month all of these people meet.
Okay.
Do the targets. If somebody comes, they have there is a what you call a sort of preliminary meeting where they come and raise all their problems, and then you address it before you sit to the management. So that is what ensures the communication is continuously going and this process becomes successful.
Got that. Okay.
இப்போ கிரென்வில் இப்போ நீங்க சொன்னீங்க இந்த பிசினஸ் பிளானிங் அப்போ there'll be a lot of resistance இல்லையா? See, because a new person outsider from the management, he is going to come and tell you இந்த மாதிரி they would have already experienced some இது இவர் என்ன புதுசா வந்து வேற ஏதோ சொல்றாரு அப்படின்னு உங்களுக்கு நிறைய ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ் வந்திருக்கும்ல. how did you tackle that, கிரென்வில்?
கண்டிப்பா there is nobody who believes he is doing anything wrong. நீங்க யார்கிட்ட போய் கேட்டீங்கன்னா நான் தான் நல்ல வேலை பண்றேன், நான் தான் அதிகமா வேலை பண்றேன், நான் தான் எஃபிஷியன்டா வேலை பண்றேன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. which may not be wrong. See, என்ன இதுனா most organization என்ன பண்றாங்கன்னா ஒரு கம்பார்ட்மெண்டலைஸ் ஆயிரும். So இந்த டிபார்ட்மெண்ட் பொறுத்த மட்டும் they are working very hard. அதிக அவர் வேலை பண்ணி ராத்திரி ஃபுல்லா வேலை பண்ணிட்டு they are trying to bring output, which is their effort. அங்க போயிட்டு நீங்க சரியா வேலை பண்ணி சொன்னீங்கன்னா they will throw you logically. I mean, I would do it if somebody comes to my department also. So what I normally do is I go and sit down first and I understand what they are doing today. Similarly, there is always good in some process that is going on today. You don't have to change the whole process. So in the process, I add something more, which actually takes off some work they are doing today. So they will remove something which is causing a lot of hurdles for their own efficiency. So they immediately see the benefit of doing the change. And then I bring an understanding that the what is everybody's question is what is it going to help me? நீங்க யார்கிட்ட போய் கேட்டாலும் எனக்கு நான் போகுது கம்பெனி காசு சம்பாதிக்க போது I'm going to work like a dog till the middle of the night அப்படின்னா. So I go and tell him you will not be working hard, you will be working smart and you will make more money, which all of us want to do when we do our job. So we back into what is it in for him. You have to address that topic to every individual in every role. அது பண்றச்ச that person will embrace your change. The same thing I do with coaching also. When I go there, I don't try to teach them how to do their business. They are the experts. அவங்க தான் டே இன் அண்ட் டே அவுட் பிசினஸ்ல இருக்காங்க. கஸ்டமர் என்ன இஷ்யூ பண்றாங்க அவங்களுக்கு தான் தெரியும். What we can tell them is to apply the principles properly. So I make sure that when I go and I am very sensitive to make sure that people are not being forced. We have a word in this planning process known as collaborative process. It's a collaborative process. We collaborate together. So everybody should work as a team. It's easier said than done. Because everybody has his own vested interest, but we make sure that we force them to come together. And initially, in the meeting, because boss quite up on the so I create the environment, and the bosses are well known that they should not strike down somebody when he raises an objection. So he has a concern. So we address the concerns of the people. So that is how I overcome the resistance to coaching. Because as I said, there is nobody who is going to embrace you and say, come change everything I'm going to do. So it's how you bring it, the value to him is what is important. And if you address that value, they will absolutely change.
That's true.
Have any live thing that has happened for you, your experience, Grenville? இந்த மாதிரி ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ் வந்து how did you manage that? அது வந்து எதனா லைவா சொல்ல முடியுமா இந்த இண்டஸ்ட்ரி how you were able to?
Okay, I think I won't take the name because he's still my customer, but I tell you about this. So this person was the purchasing manager of an organization. Okay, now since he had put a lot of work, the management felt he can become the head of a building. The management has been trying for 5 years to make him start the work. So they brought me on, they said, these are the people we have identified. So being independent, I meet money, are the right people or not? So I reviewed everybody, the language was sure kandipa implement pannidala idana onnume kediyadhu idana apdiye easy ah panniruvom appdi solli the language was good. Then I said clear cut go that the expectation that neenga enna panna poringa, what is your deliverable, and you have so much time. Of course, they never did, because within a week, nothing was happening. So I went back again and asked him, what is the problem? So this went on for 2-3 weeks. The fourth week, I picked up the phone and said, let's have lunch, have a cup of coffee. So he went and sat and I said, what is the problem? Okay, he says, I have no clue what this vertical is about. I am strong in purchasing. I don't know why the management is pushing me to be head of vertical. I said, you have a choice to stay here. This will be like you can retire. You are doing a very good job as a purchasing manager, but this is your future. I mean, you will become a partner in the company. So you have to make a choice. Illana, they put somebody else. You recruit somebody from outside and put him there. The guy turned 360 degree after that. Okay, he understood that there is benefit to him to put that risk. So it became a calculated risk for his own career on the line, right? And that is very difficult to get somebody out of their comfort zone. It's very, very difficult.
That's true. That's a great work.
Super. Okay, Grenville, இப்போ நிறைய பேர் வந்து they are in a comfort zone. So அது வந்து நீங்க you would have made them to at least think that this is your comfort zone. நீங்க how did you experience them to first of all tell them that this is your comfort zone and you have to be out of that, then only you can have a prosperity or you can go to the next level. அது மாதிரி எதனா உங்க எக்ஸாம்பிள் இருக்கா Grenville?
See, first thing is that everybody knows when they are in their comfort zone. If somebody says, I don't know, they are just fooling you, because they definitely know. நாங்க என்ன பண்ண முடியும், எதுல நான் நல்லா இருக்கேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு அவங்களுக்கு யாருக்கும் தெரியும். So I never get fooled that I don't know. But the point remains is that நீங்க போய் சொன்னீங்கன்னா they will not accept. No, I know, I'm going to change, I'm ready to knowledge. சொன்னாலும் I'll take a totally drastic change in my career. சொல்றது தவிர்த்து they will not do it. So what I always go and do the first is that I evaluate his, they say the stomach for risking ஒரு term இருக்கு. சில பேரு they don't want to take this. நான் இதே வேலையில 20 வருஷம் உட்கார்ந்து ரிட்டையர் பண்ண சந்தோஷமா இருக்கேன் doing this. I have one of my friends who's an accountant for the last 25 years. Okay, he's moved to different organizations, but has been an accountant. He does not want to become an account manager also. After balancing the books every day, paragraph taking his bag and going on to his family. And I kept telling him, yeah, do something more, do an MBA or try to do some travel economics. Because he said, no. I am happy doing my accounts job. And we need people like that also, by the way. They are the cement in our whole organization, right? They are not bad employees. They are good, strong employees, but they are contented. And there are people like me who cannot sit doing the same job for more than 2 years. I'll go off my head. I have to do something new. You have to identify those people who have there's a fire in their bellies around them. Very quick to take a risk, but those are people you have to hold them tight. And hold on. You'll run away with the problem and you'll have big issues. So striking a balance between the risk-taking ability of the individual and how much of benefit he is going to get by taking risk. So he has to see personal benefit in what he is doing. அது பண்றதுதான் he will go and the point is that it will sustain. ஏன்னா நீங்க போய் ஒரு process implement பண்ணும்போது கண்டிப்பா பண்ணிடுவாங்க அந்த நேரத்துல. So as you turn your back, they will do a parallel process. They will go back to the original comfort zone of what they were doing. So I make sure that they embrace the process and they are ready to continue doing it after training. That's the way I've been doing it in my way of implementation.
That's great.
Good. We'll see. What is your definition of success, Grenville? You know, there are umpteen things. So each person, it's a relative term, I know. So what is your definition of success?
I think success is like a measuring tool. This is the way I look at success, and it should never be a destination. It should be like a journey. Okay, you should have a goal you set yourself and you accomplish it. That is a success for that phase of your life or that phase of your role. And then the next step will be like starting from scratch. Because if you take it as success and I've reached my end, there's nothing more to do after that. It's like a feeling of done and dusted and I just sit back and go into retirement. So I believe that everybody should, of course, celebrate it. When you have a success, you should celebrate, you should enjoy it. You should actually be proud about it and talk about it. Because that is what brings the motivation in the team that we have succeeded in something. A simple example, when I was customer service manager in my company, every month when we hit the target, I take the whole team for dinner. out of my pocket. But the amount of motivation they had, it was not a big amount of money, but it was still reasonable amount to pay every month. But the point I did was, they had that, it was a very simple thing that I acknowledged their effort, and people would stay back late in the night till midnight sometimes doing their task. But what happened over a period of time that நம்ம டார்கெட்டை ஒரு நாள் முன்னாடி முடிச்சிட்டோம். அவங்க வந்து நான் இன்னும் 2 ட்ரக் லோட் பண்றாங்க, இன்னும் டார்கெட் பாஸ் பண்ணா இல்ல லோட் பண்ணாத அளவுக்கு we had made them motivate. So I believe that yes, success is definitely something everybody looks for. There is no way of saying that I've hit the top. So rather than sitting back and enjoying your laurels, you should use it as a motivation for the next step. That is the right way of using success, in my opinion.
That's true. No, that's right. That's right. Even Earl Nightingale, one of the videos, if you can watch it in YouTube, he used to say audio. Actually, it's an audio, and he's one of the earliest person. I think this audio came in 50s or 60s. If you're on your way to what you want to do, I mean, either it's a business, நம்ம business ஆரம்பிக்கணும், ஆரம்பிச்சு கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா progress ஆனாலும், it's you are on your way to success. இல்ல, it's you are in success. சில பேர் பண்ணணும்னு நினைச்சுக்கிட்டு வேற ஏதோ பண்ணிட்டு இருப்பாங்க, செய்யணும்னு நினைச்சிட்டு சொல்லணும்னு நினைச்சிட்டு சொல்லாம இருப்பாங்க. அப்படி பார்க்கும்போது if you are doing what you want to do in life and you are happy about it, that's it, you are successful in your life. அப்படிதான் சொல்லுவாங்க. So it's almost like whatever you said is right. So that's good.
Just want to add one point. I think we quantify success as monetary value.
Exactly.
People qualify success saying எவ்வளவு காசு சம்பாதிச்சிருக்கோம், என்ன பொசிஷன்ல இருக்காரு, எவ்வளவு லேண்ட் வாங்கி இருக்காரு, என்ன அசெட் இருக்குன்னு சொல்லிட்டு. But there are people who do not have all this who are very happy by the way.
Exactly. ஆமா.
I am having a complete life and I am happy. So it is a relative term. It is about what you expect and what you achieve. That is the equation that defines whether you are a successful person or not. This is my humble opinion.
That's true. I agree.
Correct. It's not only monetary, it's your satisfaction, no? The job satisfaction, all-round satisfaction. That is where success is, not because of money alone or the property. That's true, Grinwell. Okay, Grinwell, how do see, we know a person, அவர் வந்து தப்பா பேசுறாரு, இல்லாட்டி தப்பா is doing something. So how to deal with such person, Grinwell?
Okay, see, first of all, I always believe that major portion of the people don't consciously do a mistake. Okay, I think everybody's intentions are good. They always put the best effort in. There are some bad apples for sure. தப்பு பண்றது சில பேர் இருக்கதான் செய்வாங்க. So if you find a person like that, our moral value, you should take it out. So that is my way of reacting to a person. But then I make sure that I have done a proper evaluation. இவர் கண்டிப்பா இவர் திருத்த முடியாது, கண்டிப்பா இவர் மாற போறது இல்லைன்னு சொல்லிட்டு you should move the person out, because he will have a bad influence on other people. But this is about a very few people that we have in the overall organization. நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா we don't define any process as a mistake. We always call it an area of opportunity. So யாரோட வேலை பண்ண போகும்போது rather than going to நீங்க தப்பா பண்ணிருக்கீங்க, நீங்க தப்பா பண்றீங்க சொல்றதோட இது இன்னும் நல்லா பண்ணலாமே, இது இன்னும் இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்றதுக்கு வழி இருக்குன்னு சொல்லிட்டு if you put it like that, anybody is prone to try and improve himself if he's really intending to make himself better and the organization better. Innoni, as I told you, everybody has a vested interest. So if he's doing it wrong also, he thinks he's doing it for the benefit of something. Either he's doing it for the benefit of the company or he's doing the benefit of himself. So you have to remove that misnomer in his mind that he's helping anyone and saying you're causing damage. You are not going to be in the organization. So you should change, because this is the downside of what you think you're doing. So rather than focusing on he's doing right or wrong, I focus on telling him what he could do better and what the management expects of him to do his job properly. And if he's going to be a truthful person, he will change. If not, I mean, he's a guy who does not want to do the right thing, you cannot change. Human nature cannot be changed.
Certain people, yes. Certain exceptions will be there, but நீங்க சொன்ன point exactly, like the way we use words, அது எல்லா இடத்துலயும் it will have a positive impact, and people will change and they will do what you want. Yes, exactly. True.
One of my gurus actually told me it's not what you say, it's how you say it. You can get away by using the most bad language if you say it politely. People will laugh and go. And you can say very simple things and people can get offended. Right. So it's about how you say it than what you say.
Great. That is a great experience. No, without experience, we will not get that recognition.
That's true. Correct. With whatever Grinwell has gone through in life, and it's almost like golden nuggets. Whatever we are sharing, he's sharing right now in our channel. Yes, sir.
Because he's being a planning coach and business coach, so the correct thing is நம்ம usually என்ன பண்ணுவோம், wrong person we used to demolish them from top to bottom, and this is the correct approach I think we should make for See, everyone is human, and we are prone to doing without knowing, as you said, without doing something, sometimes wrong thing. So this is the right approach.
Exactly. True, sir. Agree.
Okay. So, Grenville, after you have become a business coach, a lot of things in your life would have changed, correct? Because you had been in employment and you have been traveling widely. And now it is a different approach for you. How do you see this life change?
Honestly, see, coaching and mentoring has been my passion. Okay, all my life, I've always, again, this may sound very philosophical, but I believe that we should improve the overall situation around you. This has been my goal all my life. Initially, people used to find it very strange. I remember the first time I met an American. He said, "You don't sound like an Indian." And I'm sorry, it's going to sound very racist. Huh? He says, "Indians always hold information to themselves. They do not want to share. They believe information is strength. You are freely giving." I said, the day I meet somebody who's better than me, I make him my boss. Whether he's Indian, American, French, it doesn't matter, because the guy is capable. He should be my boss. I should never try to go and say I'm better than somebody else. I'm the biggest fool in the room. So as I say, the only stupid question is the question you don't ask. So I will stand up in a meeting and say, boss, stop, I don't understand. They say, I don't know. Either I don't know and you tell me the answer, I will know. But if I sit down here saying, I understood everything, I'm going to go away and scratch my head to figure out what to do. So I've been very honest with myself. And I believe that is a good starting point for any coaching and mentoring process. First, you have to accept your limitation and what you're actually capable of doing. And in your actions, the people and our customers will see it. So all the employees I've worked with, they know that when you come to Grenville, you get what you see. So I have applied the same principle in my coaching process also. For example, I had a customer from Delhi 2 weeks back who came and got onto my business planning process. He paid the cash up front and he joined the process. And every day I was getting on the call saying, I'm sorry, I'm speaking Hindi. So I told him, okay, first day was the same thing. Second day was the same thing. Third day I said, stop. What are you trying to achieve from this process? I'm in a garment business. I am into fashion designing. My business is in Dotum. I'm looking for a new way to go. I said, you are the wrong guy. I said, I am not a magician. I'm just a planning coach. I can only take what you have as a goal and set plans to reach that goal. So I refunded the full money back. I said, please go and find somebody who can give you a solution. Meet some other design guru who can tell you to have a new design or a new line of clothing. They can help you. I am the wrong person to pay money to. So I'm very realistic in my approach that either I can deliver, and my commitment and ethics as a coach is to deliver on what I promised. So I stick to those principles in everything I do. And I walked away from business if the discussion is always about money, because I believe if somebody is just looking at the monetary value, he's not seeing the value in what I bring. So I have carried on this I've done this in my life before, and I've carried it on into my coaching profession. So I don't see a lot of difference in my approach to what I do. Yes, the way I do it has totally changed. I had 15 people working for me. So I used to tell them, do this, and I will sit back and read the newspaper. I mean, that was the life in the corporate world. Not read the paper, but I was the boss, right?
That's true.
You want to send an email or you want to call a customer, you have to get a taxi and go out. It's all you. So you are the boss, you are the peon, you are the secretary, you are everything. And that is the big change in my life, which I adapted to. And I knew I was getting into this. I mean, initial part, I'm setting up my business, so it is going to take time to get my infrastructure in place. So that part of the administration has changed, but the way I approach and what I do, truthfully, I did not see a big change in my approach.
Okay.
Okay, Grenville, right client, how to identify? It's a very big, and after getting that client, we'll be usually feeling yeah. So how to identify such a right client?
See, okay, I have actually set a clear-cut demarcation in the customers I want to work with. So I work with only MSMEs, and I make sure that they do not have more than 200 employees. Okay, this is a sort of demography that I've created for myself because I know I can manage these customers and their business. I'm a single man operation. If you go bigger than this, you need to have at least one more consultant with you to integrate the whole process of setting up the plan. So as far as demography goes and as far as size goes, I'm clear about what I do. Now, when it comes to market segment, I don't really limit myself to any market segment. I'm focusing on the construction industry segment predominantly, but business planning principles apply to any segment. So when a customer comes to me, what I'm really looking for is he clear what he wants? So the first thing I do is I have a one-to-one session with them, even before I start any discussion. And I sit and tell me what you want. Okay, this Delhi customer was a big learning lesson for me that taught me to, I've got a questionnaire now that I asked them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions saying, what are your pain points? What are you trying to solve by doing this business plan? Are you doing it for a specific reason? And if he's got a specific reason, I want to know why he has that reason. So that's how I separate my customers out, that I'm working with the right people and I can deliver what they expect. Because in the end, your reputation is what counts in the end, right? It's all 90% of your business is word of mouth. And if you don't have the right reputation and deliver, you will lose your reputation in the market. So I make sure that one, the customer is right for me and I am right for the customer too. It works both ways, right? So that is how I have been filtering out my customers, and I make sure that I do it this way. And this is the way I've been implementing in the last more than a year now.
Great. So
That's
how
great.
do you see the personal and the professional life? You know, you are the right person to advise also.
I was planning coach.
Yeah.
I have done the mistake that everybody has done. Okay, I mean, I'm not going to profess and say I was a great guy all my life. I put my job first. My family suffered. My health suffered. I mean, I have done my own share of mistakes. As I say, life teaches you lessons. There is nobody who can say he was perfect all his life and he's just being a hypocrite. So I have learned the hard way. But I met a gentleman, I'm going to name him. His name is Gabor Andrazi. He still works with my earlier organization. He was my boss for 3 years. The one thing that really impressed about him to me was that when his wife or son calls, even if he's sitting in the meeting with the managing director, he will say, excuse me, he'll walk out of the room, take the phone call and come back. And people used to laugh at me. I was like, okay. And my wife will call, I won't pick up the phone till evening when I go back home and ask her what happened. Like, that was my approach to my family. Then I asked him, I said, I mean, don't you find it odd? He said, Grenville, this company is going to be with me till I perform. Till I deliver results, this company will be with me. The people who are going to be in my old age and when I'm sick is my family. So for me, they are my priority. Yes, if this job is not there, I'll find another job in another company. Right? So for me, I have to give my priority to my life. That really opened my eyes, honestly. And I started making a conscious decision that when my wife used to call, I'll drop everything and pick up the phone. People started looking at me and saying, what is this guy? I mean, what is it? I told him, no, I want to change this part of my life, but I want to strike a balance between work and family. And I want to give priority to my family. And that's one of the reasons I left my work. I mean, I was doing pretty good and I was very much set. I mean, I didn't have to really leave. But I wanted to enjoy the last few years. Both my children are grown adults now. One is in the final year of college and one is in the third year. So I came back this year mainly to spend at least 2-3 years with them. They're still my children till they become full adults and leave the house. Then I'll come back to an empty house with my wife. So the reason to change and leave the corporate world and start coaching, also one of the driving forces was my personal life.
Okay.
So I took that choice and no regrets, honestly. I have absolutely no regrets that I took that.
It's a very great advice, Ganesan.
That's true. That's true. Family first, அதுக்கப்புறம் தான் எல்லாமே, and balancing the right way, and got the plan பண்ணிட்டு கரெக்டா வந்திருக்கீங்க. So hopefully everything will go as planned. COVID would have disrupted some to a level, but I think rest of the time it will go as planned.
No, it's 100% true. Whatever you may be, see, as you said, no, the organization will be there for only if you are not performing, immediately they will throw us out. But in family, it is not like that. It is a right advice for the viewers and also for us, Ganesan. So we have to give more importance to our family than our professional life. Definitely, we have to give some importance, but in the family, we have to give the first preference. Correct, Grenville?
No. Again, work doesn't mean work is less important. Work is also
equal.
Between work and family, then you definitely pick family. I mean that. I mean, people shouldn't say that, you know what, I'm not going to work, I'm going to go and sit at home. And that is foolish. We have to earn revenue and look after our family. So work is important. It doesn't take away the importance of work. But it's a priority you set. You have to set a priority of giving your family and your personal life importance. And that's something the Western world really takes seriously, while I think here in India, we don't take that. We're so much into our careers and our roles that we forget and we give it we do when it becomes very severe. We have a health issue or a family issue when we turn back and try to fix it. But
yes, I agree.
Balanced, you have a very balanced life all through your life.
Agreed on that, yes.
Great. It's a great eye-opening for everyone. Friends, we are going to come to the end of this live session. Kindly put any questions in your chat box, please. Okay, Grenville, you being a technical savvy, what's your advice for the amateurs? Because we know, myself and Ganesan will know, and many people, your friends will know, your colleagues will know. You are great in everything, in every technical matter they are seeing you. So what is your
Okay, I would say that yes, I like technology. I'm not tech savvy as it goes as a geeky level of techno savvy, but yes, I'm very interested in technology. If somebody says I'm using something, I have that interest to go and learn. I want to understand what is the again. I'm having a vested interest that I want to improve the quality of my life, and I strongly believe technology is a tool to improve your quality of life. The
Agreed.
biggest danger is that most people become a slave to technology. And that is something I never let happen in my life, ever. I went off Facebook for 25 years because initially I remember when Facebook came, the craze was you had to post where you are, right? I remember sitting in the middle of a traffic signal on my WhatsApp, on my BlackBerry, posting I'm at this signal. And my wife said, "What are you doing?" And I told her, "Oh God, yes, this has really gone too much." I shut down Facebook that day and I opened it back in 2019 December after 25 years. That's it. I mean, enough of this because I was actually becoming, it was such a sort of nice thing, right? You were posting, your friend was posting, I'm here and I'm there. But then I said, this is taking over my life. I mean, I'm living more in the tech world than in the real world. But that said, okay, I strongly believe that technology has been designed to help make our quality of life better. And everybody should embrace technology. I don't think, again, the biggest issue that we have, either we have people who are the other extreme, who are so much driven by technology that enslaves them into being attached to a technology, or there are people who are totally terrified of technology. They just know, I cannot do this. And I tell them both, striking the balance is important. If you do not know, if you jump in, you will do mistakes. As in life, you do mistakes in life, you learn. The same thing applies to technology as well. As long as you don't go and send some crazy mail or post to somebody, that if you take care of that, any technology we can learn. Finally, a human being designed the technology, right? It didn't come from artificial intelligence.
correct?
If somebody designed it, it's a matter of learning. And for me, it's my sons. My sons are my mentors. I have one son who's really techo in both hardware and software. Another guy is into applications. So they are my biggest challenge to actually the biggest reason to get into technology was to stay abreast of them. If you want to talk to them, you cannot have a blank look when they say something, right? So I make sure that when we are having a conversation, I can at least say, okay, I know this, I know that. And then now what happens is that I go to them for advice when I am choosing something. So they in turn are learning from me as well. They take it back and say, oh, something like this, and they go and they look at it. So it's become more mutual by me keeping track with technology. So you have to strike that balance.
It's a good piece of advice, yes.
Yeah, it's you have to embrace technology, but you should not be a slave to the technology.
Absolutely.
But that is what now it's happening. Every youth is into that, and even now, ladies, housewives, everyone, everyone is glued to the technology. I mean, TV or mobile, whatever they see, they are coming. They are becoming slave to that.
That's earlier அதான் டிவி ரேடியோ டிவின்னு ஆகி இப்போ மொபைல் வந்துருச்சு, அவ்வளோதான். there is a change in things, but people are may become slaves to whatever அந்த டைம்ல இருந்தது. முதல்ல டிவி பார்த்துட்டு இருந்தாங்க. now along with டிவி ஒரு பக்கம் ஓடிட்டு இருக்கு, நம்ம மொபைல் ஒரு பக்கம் பார்த்துட்டோம். that's it. That used to be there. So Grenville சொன்ன மாதிரி we should strike a balance, like we should do our self assessment, like are we becoming slaves or do we know what it is?
இதனால என்ன ஆகுதுன்னா நிறைய டைம் we are wasting without any productivity. அது வந்து எப்போ தெரியுதுன்னா ஆஃப்டர் சம் half an hour நம்ம டிவி பார்க்கலாம்னு உட்காந்துருப்போம், பட் யூ டு நாட் நோ, யூ வில் பி சீயிங் ஃபார் ஹவர்ஸ் டுகெதர். அதே மாதிரி தான் மொபைல், அந்த ஃபேஸ்புக், தட் இஸ் வாட்ஸ்அப்போ ஏதோ ஜஸ்ட் ஒரு half an hour பார்க்கலாம்னு உட்காந்துருப்போம், பட் we would have spent more than 2 hours in that, and after that only we will be feeling. So அந்த ஒரு பேலன்ஸ் தான் வெரி வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் இன் லைஃப் இல்லையா மிஸ்டர் கிரென்வெல்? ஹவு அதை எப்படி பண்ணணும் தான் இட்ஸ் கிரேட்.
Very simple. Sorry, I cut you off. I'll just give a simple example what I do. There is a function called do not disturb on your phone. I think 90% of people don't use it. They think it's a hurdle. I have set it from 8 in the night till 6 o'clock in the next morning. Okay. So I don't receive telephone calls. I don't receive notifications. I cannot use the internet. It cuts off my internet. Okay. So 8 to 6 in the morning, I'm away from technology. I mean, come what may, I cannot connect to anything. And I don't go and watch television. And I mean, unless the CSK match or something is going on, I watch TV. If not, we have told my family, dinner, we sit down with no technology, we talk. At least for 30 minutes, we eat food as a practice and spend time together to keep that bond of a family going. The same way my children also know. After 8 o'clock, if they found the technology, their phone is gone for a week. Then they have to figure out, I got a dummy phone, that dumb phone they call it, we can just make calls. They get it for a week. I told them, discipline yourself from now. If not, once you go into a profession, it becomes more difficult to get away from it. So I used to take calls at 12, 1 in the morning. When customers used to call me or when my employees used to call me, I was on call 24/7. It affected my health. There was so many bad effects of being accessible to work. So you have to strike that balance. So I suggest to people, apply do not disturb first your phone. Start from there. There are so many other softwares available to control your use of internet also. But this is a very simple thing on your phone. Lock it down. Nobody can call you. You cannot call anybody. You cannot use internet. So it's your choice. And you can still put it on if you want to.
True.
Super, very good advice, Greenwell. This is the way hours together are wasted because of that, and that too, youngsters, instead of studying, they are making their life very. That is not good for them at all. They are not going to listen only by experience. Yeah. Finally, it's a great discussion, Greenwell. So finally, your tips for doing effective business or profession.
Okay, as I said everything, I think the first thing to do is to step back, evaluate, and make a plan. I think this is the first advice I'll give to anybody, whether you're doing a business or you're in a profession. We have to look at what next. That is a question you need to ask yourself. Because if you don't ask that question, you're going to either stay where you are or you're going to get frustrated in a few years saying, I'm going nowhere with my life. So that is the first thing, is that step back, evaluate what you're doing, make a plan at least 1 year ahead, maybe not very long, but at least 1 year ahead. Where am I going to reach? You may reach 50% of that. So that will make you effective both in business or even if you're running a profession. Second thing is that when you're running a business, don't just get bogged down with cash flow issues, because everybody focuses on the short term. And most of the customers I deal with are so bogged down with cash flow issues, they forget the bigger picture. So again, with everybody, I say, look at your cash flow. It is very important. That's what keeps you existing. But make a plan to ensure that the cash flow issue will go away in some period of time. So you set a long-term plan, think that, yes, I am in the middle of trouble today. COVID is a good example, right? Nobody expected it to be so bad. But if you don't figure a way out, you are going to get bankrupt and you will shut down your business. So you need to look at what next, in the worst of situation or even in the best. You shouldn't relax saying, I got a lot of money, Captain, and I will not earn anymore because it will last me 10 years. What happens after the 10th year is the question, right? You should have a plan for the 11th year. Okay. And the biggest thing is expect the market to change. Something unexpected is going to happen. And that is one thing which also business planning does. Okay, we actually build multiple scenarios. When you're doing a business plan, you do the plan for the next 3 months, for example. You do a plan saying, this is what I think I'm going to do. And then you say, what if this market does not come? What if this product does not sell? So you ask the what if questions and you set up scenarios to address the good and the bad. Because even if you have a good situation, you may not have the product to sell and you lose an opportunity to make money. Same way, if it goes bad, you'll have an inventory sitting and you can't ship. Or even for a service like a coach, you will have no business at all. So you need to make a plan for short term and long term. And the biggest and most critical thing is that the team needs to understand what you're doing. Everybody believes it comes from the top down. I totally disagree. If you have committed people working for you, you don't need to be a boss. You can be a leader. The difference between a boss and a leader is exactly that. You have people who know their job and know how to do their job, and you are the one that's guiding them. That will make you a leader, or you will always remain a manager or a boss. So that is my advice to people, is that trust your people. They will do their mistakes. Let them do their mistakes and learn to think. And you will make a strong team and you will be more efficient yourself and your team as well. And the last one is the readiness to change. All of us, as I said, are in our comfort zone. And the biggest danger for business is an ego. So if you have a situation that you know you're doing something wrong, I think whether it's a boss or it's an employee, even if it's going to be your watchman walking and saying, what if this? You should have that openness to say, yes, let me listen to him. And maybe I will still disregard it saying he has no clue. But listen to what he has to say and then say, okay, I should be able to adapt it to my business. That's what I do, at least. I mean, I don't differentiate from anybody, young, old, male, female. I don't have no differentiation. I say, listen to them first. And then I make, of course, my own decisions in the end. I have to run my own business, right? But then that's what I believe is the mantra for success, is to make sure you are ready to change.
Thank you for sharing that. That's really good.
Great. Ganeshan, any other question, Ganeshan?
Okay, so no, we had a very interactive and huge big discussions on planning and இது வரைக்கும் இருந்த myth என்னன்னா எல்லாருக்கும் பிளானிங்னா it's a one time activity ஒரு one page business plan ready பண்ணிட்டு it's done and dusted. That's what people think. ஒரு kick start பண்ணிட்டோம்னா முடிஞ்சது. But we had a new perspective from Grenville that business planning is something which will take your business to the next level, and it is like you need to revise it again and again and review it so that it helps in business growth for your to the next level.
Correct.
So that is something new, that is something good we learned, and because other planning na kondu varamatom we take it in different jargons, but what he says is really good. So if you are interested, if you want something more about business planning and take up his consulting and know what he is doing, please comment section la podunga. So உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது questions இருக்குன்னா so that he can answer your questions, and we'll also get in touch with them so to answer your questions. So if you like this video, please share this video with your business friends so that they also know what is business planning is all about, because எல்லாருக்கும் ஒரு perspective இருக்கும். It will change once they go through this video. Thank you, Grenville, for sharing all the things for the last 1 hour or so. Thank you so much for being on our show.
My pleasure, Ganeshan. Thank you and Raghu for having me. I've enjoyed the session as much too. Thank you so much.
We enjoyed very much, Grenville. Thank you very much for a very great output, as Mr. Ganeshan was telling. And the planning nale or definition, you have just set a new definition for it, and it's like a hand holding till where that business is going to grow on. So that is a great. Adhe madri about technology, you said no, it's very great. So thank you very much, Grenville, and thank you, Ganeshan, for a nice host. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Good day, sir.
Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.